This is the gospel of the story of the road to Emmaus. It takes place over 2 screens. It's a little lengthy, but it's one of the most beautiful gospels of resurrection. That very day, the first day of the week, 2 of Jesus' disciples were going to a village 7 miles from Jerusalem called Emmaus. And they were conversing about all the things that occurred. And it happened that while they were conversing and debating, Jesus himself drew near and walked with them. But their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing as you walk along?" They stopped, looking downcast. One of them, named Cleophas, said to him in reply, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place in these days?" And he replied to them, "What sort of things?" They said to him, "The things that happened to Jesus the Nazarene, who was a prophet mighty in deed and word before God and all the people. How our chief priests and rulers both handed him over to be sentenced to death and crucified him. But we were hoping that he would be the one to redeem Israel. And besides all this, it is now the 3rd day since this took place." Some women from our group, however, have astounded us. They were at the tomb early in the morning and did not find his body. And they came back and reported that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who announced that he was alive. Then some of those with us went to the tomb and found things just as the women had described, but him they did not see. And he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are, how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets spoke. Was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter into his glory?" Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them what referred to him in all the scriptures. As they approached the village to which they were going, he gave the impression that he was going on further, but they urged him, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening and the day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. And it happened that while he was with them at table, he took bread, said the blessing, broke it and gave it to them. With that, their eyes were opened and they recognized him, but he vanished from their sight. Then they said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he spoke to us on the way and opened the scriptures to us?" So they set out at once and returned to Jerusalem, where they found gathered together the 11 and those with them who were saying, "The Lord has truly been raised and has appeared to Simon." Then the 2 recounted what had taken place in the way and how he was made known to them in the breaking of the bread. The Gospel of the Lord. That Gospel is one probably of my favorites. And it's not that I've chosen it, it's that it has chosen me. I used it at my first Mass a long time ago. And 30th anniversary of my ordination, I was hijacked in Clare during the Willie Clancy week and brought into a church where people had prepared a surprise party for me, and which started with a Mass, but there was nobody else to say it, only me. So in a few minutes' notice, I had to put a homily together. And I used that gospel. I used the gospel also at my mother's funeral because it is a story of 2 people on a road. And this applies to a lot of people at the moment who just don't know what's happening. They're despairing, they're brokenhearted. And the archaeologists tell us that the village of Emmaus has never been actually found archaeologically. So in one sense, scripture could be telling us that these guys didn't even know where they were going. We could say the same about what's going on in our world today. When will the lockdown ease up? When will the COVID virus disappear? We don't know where we're going, but we still have to hope. I cleaned my barbecue yesterday. I don't know when I'm going to have a barbecue, but I know I'm going to have one. That's my hope, that I'll have people around the place. So we have to keep hope going. But when I was praying this piece of scripture on Friday morning, thinking about today, it came at me differently. And I put pen to paper because that's what this gospel does to me. It brings me into a space of the Lord who's walking with us, offering us something. And in this piece I wrote, there's one part of an invitation where I asked the Lord just to join us. So I'll read it to you and then we'll go into our prayer to the faithful. It's called "Listen Then to This Silence," because I'd say there was great silence between those 2 on the road before the Lord came along. Listen then to this silence. Hear what she has to say. Sit comfortably with her, knowing she would teach us a new way. Lockdown came upon our land. It felt like a prison gate. We had to face one another from early morning till late. We wondered and wandered around balcony, garden and road, and when the novelty was over, we discovered that we bore an awkward load. Unlike previous pandemics, those who had given us their all, they became our victims, and like leaves in autumn, we saw them fall. In nursing home and hospital, the virus had crept along. Those first who left us were anonymous. Knowing many now, we cry at so much wrong. Nurses, carers and doctors, others who drove back and forth, overnight they became our valued heroes, holding hands and ministering worth. We stood outside helpless, observing strange garment and mask. With hearts broken, we waved from a distance, a simple, "Can I hug you?" an impossible ask. We stood back from graves, gathering when our loved one was lowered down. The priest was more distant than usual, struggling for verb, adverb, or noun. There is a God that is speaking from some tormented space. He weeps with us and for us as we ponder what it is to be his race. Let us begin again in wonder and gaze into the earth's soul, while our lengthy opinion pieces frolic about like a newborn foal. Let us look beneath the shadows of COVID days that we endure. Let us find a way together, a future that is safe as it is sure. And to our God who hears our confusion, can you join us for a while? Pour out your graces upon us, that we can all travel the extra mile. May what is faint within us become both strong and bold, so we and those who love us can once again hug and hold. You're a God who walks with us across this long and barren plain. Let us hope that we rejoice together in the place beyond pain. Let us listen then to this silence. Hear what she has to say. Sit comfortably with her knowing she will teach us a new way. Let us listen then to this silence. Hear what she has to say. Sit comfortably with her knowing that she will teach us a new way.